Hey, today I'm going to talk to you about those pieces of tech that I bought that I just wish I never did. So let's get straight to the list. Number one on my list, and by means this is in no particular order, but item number one I have on this list, and I completely regret buying it, but I put it on the list with a heavy heart, and that's the Canon 5D Mark III. Why I have a heavy heart putting this on this list is because it's a very good camera. Even in 2023, it's a very good camera, especially if you're into photography. When this came out, I think back in 2012, it was revolutionary, and it was one of the best, if not the best, hybrid camera at the time. When I got this, I think it was 2015, maybe 2016, I can't recall, but at that point I had the Canon T5i, and to me this was a big deal. The photos was nice. You had the dual memory card slots, you had the micro HDMI out so you could connect to an external monitor. It was the ish. Not too long after I got it, I started dabbling more into video, and while this is very good in video, the autofocus for video wasn't really my style or my taste. So about a year and a half, or maybe not too long after I got this, I completely switched systems. I went to Sony. I got an A7 III, and since then this just been sitting on my storage cabinet collecting dust. I've actually sold all my lenses, and one thing I also regret ever doing was selling all my lenses and not packaging this in a deal. I should have, but I always thought I would have been able to sell this separately, and unfortunately I haven't been able to. So again, this is the first one on my list that I regret, but it's a very good camera even in 2023. Next on my list is the Sony 6400 camera. Again, this here is a nice camera. It can shoot 4K at up to 30, I think it is. It has interchangeable lens. You have a flip screen or a tilted screen, I think you could call it. But when I got this, I thought to myself I was going to use it as a vlogging camera. Take it out. It's very small. Yes, it has an interchangeable camera, interchangeable lens, but actually I had two problems with this. The first problem, first and foremost, is the battery life. It completely sucks. I probably at most could get an hour out of the battery life. Now, if you're out shooting for the day, you don't want to have to constantly be changing batteries or recharging batteries. And then the second issue I have with it is the stabilization. There's no IBIS, and when I'm vlogging, everything was just all over the place. And yes, I could have taken care of that in post, but I don't like having to do extra steps unnecessarily. I like my images to be stabilized in the camera as much as possible, and if I have to apply any image stabilization in post, well, hopefully it's not that much, but it was just too much for this, and for those two reasons I just fell out of love with it. So right now it's just a glorified webcam for me, because A, is always sitting on my tripod, and then so I don't have to worry about image stabilization, and then B, I always have it plugged in, so I don't have to worry about any power drain from the battery. So I still have use for it, but just not its intended use when I first bought it. Speaking about image stabilization, next on my list is the RSC2 gimbal by DJI. Now you can interject the name of any gimbal from DJI into this area, because I had the Ronin, I had the RSC Gen 1, and obviously the RSC Gen 2. I was able to sell the previous two. Now these gimbals are nice, especially with the advancement in technology. They're pretty good. They do what they're supposed to do, especially this one with it Raven Eye, where it has that follow focus. This one here, you could lock the various arms to make sure that it's not slacking during transportation is pretty good. And even the one that just came out last year, when you read about it, it's pretty good. My problem is that one is very bulky, so transporting these things are a pain in the butt. Two, setup times. After you reach to your location, you still have to go and balance this and balance that. It just, again, another process that I just don't really care to have to deal with. So when I first got it, I was using it a lot, but then, you know, after the shine wore off, I realized, you know, this is just an extra step that I don't really want to deal with. So this hair just has been sitting in my closet for the last God knows how long, not being used. Yeah, it's embarrassing. But it was good while it lasts, and I would recommend it to anyone who into gimbals. It's if you could find it online, they're very cheap compared to how it was when you first bought it, or even the newer version. They're relatively affordable now, but it's just not my forte. Next on my list, the DJI Pocket 2. If I could get it to focus. This is a very good video camera. It could shoot 4K, I think up to 60. The image is stabilized, it's very small, it's portable. You could do just about almost anything with it. My problem with it is I just never really had any use for it. I thought when I bought it, I was gonna be vlogging everywhere, traveling and what's not, but around that time COVID happened and I just never really got into it. You know, having to be in your home, not being able to travel. I'm sure if I really put my mind to it, I could have found more use to it or use for it, but that just never happened, and I kind of regret buying it, and I also regret not even trying to explore more ways to utilize this. Next on my list is the Insta360. I can't remember, I think this is 3? Oh yeah, Insta360 X3. This is the model that just came out last year. I have a cover on the lens. Now, this here is a good camera if you're into 360. You have a nice big LCD screen, which you could more or less access the menu and also see your footage quite easily. You could shoot a 5.7K video and have the whole 360 fare at your disposal. The battery life in it is very good. Now, my problem with it is that I just never really got into the whole 360 phenomena. I wanted to, I tried, but I just can't get over the fisheye effect. It's just not my forte. I actually used this today. I traveled this morning and I not too long came back, and yes, it's fun using, but I am not really an outdoor person, and I think these kind of technology is really geared towards the adventurous type, or even the moderately adventurous type, I guess. The most adventurous thing I do is ride a bike for exercise, and if I'm out there exercising, unless I'm making a exercise video, I don't really care to be walking with a video recorder on my bike, you know, or shooting everything. So it was really a waste. I still have it. Hopefully one day I might want to use it, or maybe give it to my son as he gets older, but as of right now, I regret buying it. Next on my list, the GoPro. Now this here is a GoPro 8, but I have the GoPro 10 somewhere. I just can't find it. I almost bought the GoPro 11 because that one has the 10-bit 422 technology in it. GoPros, they're very good, especially the latest iteration of the GoPro. They're very good. They have a lot of features in it compared to the previous versions. The image stabilization for video is very, very good. But just like the Insta360, for me, I'm not really the outdoor type person. My type of videos are usually sitting down talking or doing overhead shots. So this here, I didn't really have much use for it, because if I'm doing those types of videos, I might as well use my A7S III or my A7R III or any one of those higher tech model cameras. So this here just more or less sits in my dry box collecting dust. Next on my list is the Mavic Mini 2. You could insert any drone into this category because my problem is with all of them. First of all, the features are very nice. You know, this one here, I think you could shoot 4K 60 or at the very least 4K 30. The image quality is very good. The colorations is very good. You don't like 4K, you could shoot into 1080p or 720p. You could take videos from angles that you can't really do normally with a regular camera, and for that I like it. But my problem with drones right now has to do with the restrictions. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that restrictions are necessary because you have a lot of irresponsible people out there who would cause a catastrophe with these things. Now I lost signal altogether. Okay, now it just came back. And I'm coming back at only about 20 miles per hour. Just to show you, just to give you an idea as to how strong the wind is today. So I'm back at about 14,000 feet and have about 17 minutes remaining. Oh wow. Maybe this might not have been a good idea today. Signal loss. Oh my gosh, this is scary. But I live on an island, and the geofence technology that is baked into these cameras doesn't really allow me to fly any and everywhere. You know, the restrictions take up more or less the entire island because, again, the island is very small and there's an airport, so the fly zone more or less is almost everywhere on the island. So, and in most cases, you won't find out about the restriction until you go on site and you try flying it. So I really haven't flown any of my drones for quite some time, and I'm talking about drones going all the way back to the Phantom when, you know, you had those white four propeller drones. Well, I mean, these have 4 propellers, but you know what I'm talking about. I've been droning since from 2014, so and I have had quite a bit of them, but I just not really into them anymore. So the next on my list is the Zoom H4N Pro. Now this here is a recorder, audio recorder. I bought this at or around the same time I bought my Canon 5D3, and you could tell by the sticky stuff on it, that's how old it is, and I did a very poor job of storing it. Now it still works, still could capture sound from XLR mics or from regular 35mm jacks. You can record directly onto an SD card. There's a small LCD on top here that can, you know, give you the kind of info that you need to monitor your recording. My problem with this is, especially, I should say was, because at the time when I got this, softwares was still limited in certain ways. So therefore, my problem had to do with having to sync the audio from this with my camera. And now it's much easier to do, I must admit. But again, it's still an extra step that I don't really care to do. Especially knowing with my A7S III, I do have the XLR3 connection, which allows me to use XLR, and that's much easier to deal with because it syncs directly into the video as opposed to having another step to have to deal with. So therefore, for the sake of simplicity, this here doesn't really leave my dry cabinet, and for that reason, I highly regret ever buying this. There you have it. Those are my worst purchases I've ever made over the last few years. Looking back, I really wish I had all this money still in my pocket or in my bank account. I might have been able to buy more tech. No, I'm just joking. But you know, I think we all go through these, especially as YouTubers or persons who just naturally into tech. These things tend to come out very often, and you know, you're always convincing yourself, hey, I need that, or I gotta have that, or I can't do anything without that next piece of tech. But over the years, I've learned to control myself and, you know, stop all these purchasing because tech is very expensive and the updates are so close. It's like you could buy something today and by next week it's outdated. So that reason alone, you know, I'm controlling my purchases. But you know, if you have your worst purchase that you ever experienced, you know, you can leave a comment down below, share with me what you think was the worst, or if you think I'm over exaggerating with some of these items, you know, you could also leave a comment of those down below. But until next time, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to this channel. I have links to everything mentioned in this video down below, and if you click on it, of course, I will get a very small token at no expense to you. So that's it for now. Until next time, peace.